It's 1900 GMT. Hello, good evening. Welcome to NEWSNIGHT on Metro Television. We're live from our studios here on Dr. Iset Street in North Region, Accra, live on DSTV channel 277 and live on Facebook at Metro News. My name is Noble Crosby Annan.
My name is Nana Yawanchi. We're bringing you this in the next 60 minutes. Lead stories across Ghana and beyond. We have business and sports coming up. Here's the headlines. Increasing activities of illegal mining threatens livelihood of residents in the Ahanta West municipality of the Western region as major sources of drinking water have been polluted, resulting in children born with major defects. Tonight, we will share with you an anti-galamsey campaign by Metro News reverse the worrying trend.
Also in this bulletin, the Accra Police Command defends its approach to handling the intended Fix the Country demonstration. Calls for reforms for the Public Order Act as it insists the service has no ill motive to stop demonstrations. Submissions of the Fix the Country conveners disagree with.
In business, with inflation declining from 8.5% in April to 7.5% in May. In the wake of new taxes and increment in some products and services, we go behind the figures and take a critical look.
Coming up in sports, after defeat to Morocco, Black Stars now set to prepare for the Ivorians at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium.
In news from across the borders, the death toll from a recent attack by a gang of cattle thieves on 7 villages in northern Nigeria, Kibi, rises to 88.
Hello and welcome to NEWSNIGHT. Our first story this evening. The minority in Parliament is urging the Chief Justice to reconsider his petition to refer the Bogotanga East MP, Dr. Dominic Ayine, to the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council. According to the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, the action of the Chief Justice is in a bad faith and an assault on free speech and the fundamental human rights of the Member of Parliament.
Dr. Dominic Ayine is reported to have said the Supreme Court failed to apply the rules of procedure in passing judgment on the disputed 2020 presidential elections. He made the comments at an event organized by CDD and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. In a letter written by the Judicial Secretary, the Chief Justice took issues with the views expressed by Dr. Dominic Ayine and subsequently referred him to the Disciplinary Committee of the General Legal Council. Addressing the press on Wednesday, Haruna Idrisu indicated that the Chief Justice will set a bad precedent if the case is allowed to proceed.
That we in the minority find the invitation to be in utter bad faith and meant to be an attack on free speech on Parliament as an institution and also as an affront to democratic and academic freedom. This invitation must also be seen to be an attack on freedom of expression, and it's only deepening growing concern about the creeping culture of silence in our country, which is gradually lingering its ugly head on our democratic dispensation.
The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, added that Dr. Dominic Ayine is duty-bound to speak to the public on matters of public interest. He described the petition from the Chief Justice as an attack on Parliament as an institution.
The Chief Justice's position, in our view, is an infringement of Dr. Ayine's right to free speech on all scores and intended to render him ineffective as a representative of the constituency and as chairman of the Statutory Legislation Committee of Parliament. It must be observed.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has cautioned the judiciary against 7 members of Parliament court rates and effects the arrest while their duty says it's a clear breach of the 1992 Constitution. The Speaker also cautioned members of Parliament that their immunity is as contained in the Article 117 and 118 of the Constitution is not absolute, hence their responsibility in the manner they carry themselves.
As I sit here, I gathered information that some members were arrested, were prosecuted, and they are before court without any notice to the Speaker. This cannot continue. Even when a member is alleged to have committed an offense and being investigated, the Speaker must be given notice. Because some of the rights that we have are termed immunities, and those immunities are absolute. For example, in Parliament here, during the course of plenary, whatever you say here is absolutely protected by law, and you are immune from any process outside Parliament. And that is why the Speaker's certificate and intervention are necessary, because the Speaker will have to be opportunity to know why the member is being investigated or arrested. And when it's one of the absolute immunities, the intervention of the Speaker.
Let's have a conversation on the back of this and speak with a Member of Parliament for South Dai and a Member of Parliament Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, Roxane Dafiamepo. Sir, we're grateful for your time with us on Newsnight. Let's start with this. Many consider this as a new opportunity for the embattled lawmaker to defend himself, and the minority is describing this as an attack on the MP's right and freedoms of free speech. Why the stand by the minority?
Now, we have the humble opinion that the proposed comment by Dr. Aini, which the Chief Justice claims it constitutes an attack on the independence of the judiciary, is actually not prescribed or forbidden by the new airline, which governs the personal conduct of lawyers in this country. And that is airline 2423. Legal Professional Conduct and Etiquette Rules 2020, which was passed in October 2020. Indeed, if we take the Code of Conduct for judges, which was also passed from a couple of years ago, it allows the judge to expect citizens from the work that they do. So we are at a loss as to the basis upon which the Central Legal Council is called to investigate this matter.
Right. Counsel, now you have appealed to the Chief Justice to reconsider the decision to hold him before the General Legal Council. What do you mean by reconsider the decision, and what happens if the request by the minority for the Chief Justice to reconsider isn't granted?
Now, apparently, the complaint, as it were, has been filed before the General Legal Council. And we understand that the complaint has been forwarded with a covering letter to the Honorable Dr. Aini to answer. And so, if the request by the minority is ignored, then certainly Dr. Aini will be in the position to defend himself in the matter. And I believe that he will do so effectively.
Right. Don't you think what many people want to hear or see again as an apology from Dr. Aini, so this case can go to rest?
The law permits that to do what the law permits that. The law only forbids consider consensual if the matter expected choice and it is law. And in legal scholars, that once the text is delivered, the court becomes the court no longer has anything to do. So the judge is subjected to scrutiny and academic scrutiny and commentary. That's how we build upon as is legal. So on that basis, we have the first opinion that the petition is with all due respect unfounded.
Okay, Dominic, so when is he, scheduled to appear before the council?
When?
Yes, when exactly is Dr. Ayini scheduled to appear before the council?
Now, the text that will be given as it is when the count is passed, then fix a date, go into the month. If we get it.
Hello? Okay, so we want to move on from this story. Thank you very much. Roxanne Damyamafo is the member of the Committee on the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee. Okay, so the Health Directorate of the Ahanta West Municipal Assembly in the Western Region is raising concern about increasing birth defect recorded at health facilities as a result of mother drinking from the polluted water in the area. The Health Director, Timothy Ofori, reveals to Metro News that the Butri River, the major source of drinking water in the Wusieja community, is a case of rising birth defects. The Butri River has been overtaken by illegal mining activities, leaving many residents with no accessible option for potable water. As part of Metro News Galam's K-Caption operations, Henry Kwesi Bedu visited the community and has filed this report.
The Butri River runs through the Ahanta West municipality as well as the Mpoho and the Wasa East district in the Western region. The river is the major source of water for residents of Ewusejo, Freti, Otopo, and other communities close by. Residents say the water was clean and clear before the river was taken over by Galamsey activities.
85 years now quite important yeah, one name was soon, consume the Damanampo or Dambu, and that is Nai, Lubibasa, and Tumusunu.
Women and children in this community use the river water for all their domestic work. Despite the pollution from mining and washing in the river, residents drink this water without any treatment. Food vendors around here also source their water from the polluted river. Comfort Kwesi, who operates a small eatery, says she has no choice than to use the contaminated water to make food for sale.
I say, Nana, yes, so yeah, Eddie Bamia, Bibiala, and in so baby, Papi away, Nina, I say, Miss Nomba, it is Yana in Essa, Bibiala.
That was some of the report from our Metro News correspondent Henry Kwesi Bedu on our campaign on illegal mining. So, Ahanta West Municipal Director of Health, Timothy Ofori, speaking to Bright Amenin on the news beat, revealed the worrying rising birth defect in his constituency.
Master, I can't just express the shock that I had on seeing this footage, especially people drinking directly from this contaminated water. even to the extent of them using it to cook, for people to go and buy sickness with their own money. It's really a disturbing situation.
I'm asking, waterborne diseases on the rise in health centers in the community due to the water they are drinking.
Oh, okay. Fortunately, we've not recorded any outbreak of cholera yet. But for typhoid, and then we've reported other cases of bilharzia in that nearby health center.
Let's now talk about the long-term effect residents might have as a result of this water. Tell me, what do they stand to get from drinking this water?
Already in our Hunter West, we've already experiencing the number of mental illness all over. And also, we also having some bad effects or defects on children who are being born. We don't want to say it's as a result of this contaminated water or the chemicals that they use in the activity. But we don't want this kind of long-term effect that we've mentioned. So all that we say and advise those who are defaulters of this to just desist from this act.
Right, do stay with Metro News because this is the first of our special news reports on the devastating effects of Galamsey activities on communities, and it is dubbed Galamsey Impact. We'll bring you the second series on Galamsey tomorrow from the Elembela district, still in the Western region. Still stay tuned. You're watching Newsnight on Metro Television. We're back with more stories after the break. Stay with us.
As a mother and wife, my priority is making sure my family is protected at all times. That is why I never forget to give my angel a Flora disposable handkerchief to keep germs and sweat at bay. When hubby is out in the fields, I'm rest assured of Flora coming in handy anytime he needs it. Even when my daughter Na is out late, I am confident Flora disposable handkerchief will be close enough to save the moment. Flora disposable handkerchiefs are my go-to disposable handkerchiefs any day, anytime, and everywhere. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is affordable and handy. Flora, better than cloth handkerchiefs. Flora is a product of Delta Paper Mill Limited. For inquiries and bulk purchases, call 0243 033 033.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Welcome back to Newsnight. Let's bring you more stories. And let's start with reacting to allegations of abusing the Public Order Act 1994, Act 491. Head of Public Affairs Unit of the Greater Accra Region of the Ghana Police Service called for reforms to portions of the Act, particularly on the notice of demonstrations. Ifeatinge insisted the police service has no ill motive to stop demonstrations. Earlier, the Ghana Police Service said the reasons given by some Ghanaians for a need to hit the streets to demand for better living conditions are not compelling. Ifeatinge spoke with acting news editor Francisca Kakrafosing on Metro TV's Good Afternoon Ghana show.
your right to demonstrate is not absolute. And so that is why the Public Order Act has come up with certain modalities for all of us to follow, including the police, to ensure that your right to demonstrate does not infringe on another person's rights. And so if at all times the police is looking at the general safety of all, especially within the public space, and people are assuming and thinking that this is a weapon the police is using against us to prevent us from demonstrating, I think that that would be unfair. And but it is unfair again because we also think that the 5 clear days that has been given by the Public Order Act is also too small. Why? Because if you look at all the procedures, the back and forth, the 48 hours that you have to reply to the police and all that, and you just realize that you have no time at all. And so in order for us to be on the side of safety, always we are also rushing to court to ensure that there's a restriction on the demonstrators. Otherwise, if we had more days, let's say 10 days, for the police to dialogue with these people, that's the demonstrators, I think that to give example time where even the police will not even seeking for an injunction, but we would even go to the court on notice. But if we say 5 clear days, it's the same time they need to meet us. Within this same space, we need to meet on whatever the nature of your demonstration of notice is. Then again, we move on to our reply to them. Then they also come back with their reply. Then when we have reasons to believe that they do not even want to comply with what the police has advised, then we go to court. At this time, do we have the luxury of space or time to be able to exhaust all the procedures that we need to follow before the demonstration? So it is so because of the limited time that the police has faced to be able to put our arrangements in place, because we are looking at security in general. To be very frank with you, I don't think that we have any other ill motive in stopping people from demonstrating, apart from the general safety, because we have seen and heard demonstrations that had turned volatile or had turned, let me say, very rowdy and disturbing at the end of the day. So at any point in time, we, the police, through the command, especially the regional commander, is seeking to ensure that they exhaust all avenues so that they will also be at peace and not have any issue that they need to respond to later.
Very well.
So it is just
Meanwhile, conveners of the #FixTheCountry campaign, Benjamin Dako and Brownson Adechi, while speaking with Francisca Katraforsin on Good Afternoon Ghana, have rubbished the explanation given by the police service in their attempt to stop #FixTheCountry demonstration.
From what the police said, their reasons for getting the injunction, one of them was our reasons for demonstrating about the successive governments that have come into power and they've not done what the citizens are expecting. Is not a compelling reason. It wasn't an issue of security. They summed everything up that what we are pushing
I think to be fair to them, they talked about the possibility of COVID spreading.
Yeah, but I'm saying that it wasn't just on the basis of security. They said that the reasons we had for the demonstration wasn't compelling enough to give us a go-ahead. And the documents we sent to the police, we listed or we gave guidelines on how to deal with COVID. We feel that Ghana is old enough that we should have the freedom to contain and have people go on the streets, even within the midst of pandemic, because you can't limit our rights because of a virus. A virus that the World Health Organization has given guidelines on how to deal with it and how to live with it and cope with it.
Let me bring your colleague in. What are you expecting on Monday, 14th June?
Okay, so we are expecting that the High Court will do their best to serve what they have been protecting all these years. Now, I ask myself, if the police really care about the citizens, okay, if they care about the citizens, they wouldn't be running back and forth with us when it comes to issues of demonstration. So we are only praying that the court will come to our favor, and then Because there have been a lot of instances where people...
You're praying the courts will rule in your favor.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Away from that story, the Ministry of Health says it will respond to allegations that it bought the Sputnik 5 COVID-19 vaccine produced in Russia for $19 per dose instead of $10. A report by a Norwegian tabloid newspaper published on June 3, 2021 alleges that the government signed the contract for the purchase of the vaccine with an Emirati official involved in the controversial Ameripa deal and a Norwegian citizen charged with money laundering in Norway.
According to the report published on www.vg.no, government signed the purchase contract for 3.4 million doses of the vaccine after it received an initial 16,000 doses from the two aforementioned names on March 3, 2021. It added that, although the contract was for 3.4 million sold doses of the vaccine, the Ministry of Finance had only paid for 300,000 doses. According to the publication, when the Ministry of Health was contacted to respond to the story, a group of bureaucrats told the newspaper that their job was to pay at the end of the day after the contract had been signed. The Ministry of Finance, in response to the story, said the vaccines were purchased to protect people. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Ken Oforiatta, when asked why he purchased the vaccine for $19 per dose, was quoted as saying, "I don't know. You are confronted with the good guys from the West not giving you any assurances of supply of vaccines. And you have 30 million people and you have to save their lives. It's not easy to sit somewhere else and say, why are you doing this? But you need to make sure you protect your people. You manage that as well as you can. This is all a contrived and manufactured crisis because clearly there's enough vaccines to go around if only there was equity and justice in what we are doing," unquote. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health, in a press release dated Wednesday, June 9, says it will respond to the content of the publication by close of day. The Ministry of Health wishes to inform the public that it will issue a release today in response to the allegations published in the said news story about its processes of procuring the Sputnik V vaccines for the nation. It is therefore asking the public to exercise patience. The ministry will come out with facts about the process, the statement said.
Chairman of Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, Dr. Ayue Friye, has defended government's decision to enter into multiple agreements with foreign companies for the purchase of COVID-19 vaccine at competitive higher cost. He has, however, revealed that Ghana is yet to get a single dose of the vaccine because of the high demand it had countries who hitherto agreed to supply the country with vaccines. He was responding to allegations that Ghana has had been shortchanged into buying Russian-made Sputnik COVID-19 vaccine at inflated cost.
Understanding is that RDIF, which is the Russian Development Investment Fund, which sees to transactions for acquisition of Sputnik, gives it at the factory price of $10 or 9.90. And then you would have to go through clearance FOB, that's fleet on board. So it's up to you on how you get it to your country. Now, unlike the AstraZeneca, which is more of the government-to-government system, the Russians use more of middlemen or third parties to be able to do transactions. So what the ministries or governments do is to express interest or give you letters of authorization, and then you go ahead to strike a deal with them. So as far as it is, about 7 companies have letters and various prices ranging between $12 to $19. So if the impression is created as if it is one company and it is created as if it is 19, the other question then is that what happens to the other people who quoted 12, those who quoted lower than $19, and who for some reason all of them have not been able to deliver? Nothing for now. But what I can say for ourselves is that the MPs have gains at the expense of the taxpayer, and all of them have been vaccinated, if not for second dose, first dose. They are serving their family. And other Ghanaians also matter, regardless of your social standing. And that is the mandate of the president. And that is my mandate as the chairman, to see to government business, to correct that misrepresentation in the public, and also to open up for any discussions that...
Let's still stay on COVID-19, and the second wave of the virus ravaged India's hospitals, and then crematoriums ran out of space. Families struggled to find beds, oxygen, or even medicines to save their loved ones, while clinics were first hit. The second wave soon reached rural parts of the country. Hundreds died due to the poor or no access to good health care. Most of them were not even able to get a COVID-19 test done. Now, on June 7, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his address to the nation, confirmed that the central government will provide free vaccines for all Indian adults directly. We're joined by freelance Indian journalist Devang Shah, who is currently in Washington, D.C., to tell us about the Indian situation and that of the United States. Devang, thank you for your time with us on Newsnight. Let's start with what really accounted for the second wave of the virus in India. Was it a case where people were disregarding the protocols, or it's an action that government should have taken or did not take?
It's more about, if you need to understand this, you need to go back to when COVID had just hit and we were actually trying to navigate it in the March of 2020. And the government had implemented very strict restrictions, like, all the flights were closed down, there were strict curfews, and people were following protocols at the time, but that led to a strong economic impact on the country. And as the country saw that the cases were steadily coming down in January, February 2021, the government decided to relax and uplift the restrictions so that the economy can be brought back to life, due to which, again, a lot of people were impacted and it started spreading. And at the same time, there were elections in the country that were going on. There were festivals in the country that were being celebrated. And these all led to one super spreader event after the other. And given how densely packed India is, it was the disaster in making. And that's what happened in the last month.
Right, Deva, thanks for that. But paint a picture for us of the current COVID-19 situation in India. How is it looking like? Are hospitals still overwhelmed? Do we have crematoriums still full and all of that?
So the situation is seemingly better, a little bit better than what it was, say, 2 weeks back. Especially in the national capital, where in Delhi you are now reporting less than 3,000 cases per day. So the hospitals are now starting to empty up when people are able to access oxygen than what it was 2 weeks back, which was a nightmare. But the problem over there is that now India is facing a stronger complication of other diseases that are coming up along with COVID, which is the black fungus that India is dealing with. And now we do not have the drug that is used to treat black fungus. It's actually very scarce, which now India is going out and sourcing it from all the different parts of the world. So it's more about the complications and the mutations that have come along with COVID-19 than just fighting with COVID-19 as it was before.
Okay, Devang, tell us, because we know that currently India is no more exporting these vaccines that you produce. What is the plan the country has to vaccinate all its citizens?
So just day before yesterday, Prime Minister Modi, in a public address, clarified all the things that were related to vaccines. Due to a serious scrutiny by the locals, now India has stopped exporting the vaccines, at least for the foreseeable future. And we currently have 7 companies in India that are producing vaccines, out of which many of them are in currently the final phase of trial to come up with more different kinds of vaccines, including an intranasal vaccine that he spoke about. And they're using an app called CoWIN, which is used to disseminate vaccine all across the country. Earlier, a part of the responsibility was given to the state's government. Now the central government has taken all the responsibility to provide free vaccines to every person in India above the age of 18.
Okay, thank you very much for speaking with us on Metro News. That was Devang Shah, an Indian freelance journalist, speaking with us from Washington, D.C. Moving on to some other stories, the waste management giant Zoomlion Ghana Limited has commissioned 500 new technologically powered compact trucks. The trucks, according to the executive chairman of the Jospon Group of Companies, Dr. Joseph Siao, urge upon would improve waste management in the country. Speaking at the commissioning of the trucks, he commended President Akufo-Addo for his support to the private sector players, especially in the waste management sector.
We, Jospon Group and Zoomlion, Coniwas and ESPA, and other waste management companies and other institutions in the waste management sector give credence to the conducive business environment that has been created by your government to ensure that there is growth in the sector. We are here today to unveil the 100 state-of-art compactor trucks and some disinfection equipment which constitute part of the total 500 trucks expected to arrive in Ghana. And I humbly want to put on record that by 18th June, we will receive 50 of them. By July ending, we'll receive 98 trucks. And then by October to November, we'll receive the remaining 200 trucks. These trucks are very modern, and we engage the Ghana Armed Forces Training School to train drivers for defensive driving. 50 of these drivers are women.
You're still watching Newsnight here on Metro Television. We're taking a short break. There's more news after that.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room sets, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
Ghana is a beautiful country. There is so much of it you probably haven't seen, haven't experienced, haven't touched, haven't felt, haven't eaten. When this is all over, let's discover our land again with new eyes. Let's feel each other again. We are one people, brought together by destiny. Let's make that count. Let's show love for each other and our environment. Let's tell our stories, and let's watch and listen to our stories. There will be so much to tell. Ghana is a truly beautiful country. Be Ghana, stay in Ghana, experience Ghana, make Ghana great. And we will invite the world to come and experience Ghana too. But for now, stay home. Brought to you by the National Film Authority. Supports the Stay Home and Discover Ghana Later campaign. This channel supports the campaign.
God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Welcome back to Newsnight. It's now time for the latest in business, and Winston Taki joins us to update all of us. Winston, good to see you. What's coming up?
Good to see you both as well. A lot is coming in the world of business tonight on Newsnight, and I'll be bringing you an update from the chief statistician. Inflation has reduced to 7.5%, and many more coming up on the business segment. Now to our first story. The government's chief statistician, Professor Samuel Kobina-Enim, has announced the inflation figure for the month of May to be 7.5%, which is a drop from the 8.5% figure recorded in April 2021. He made this known earlier today when he met with the press.
I would want us to be circumspect once we did the rebasing from August 2019, and we did indicate during the rebasing exercise that unless you do the obvious backcasting, one has to be very careful comparing these figures prior to August 2019. Having said that, indeed, this is the lowest rate of inflation that we've recorded since the August 2019 rebasing. So definitely this is something that one would want to have a bit more conversation about that. And what I mean by a bit more conversation is that we always need to be mindful of how COVID-19's rate of inflation are impacting on the current inflations that we've been releasing, specifically from April 2021 and May 2021. It will be recalled that in March 2021, we're still recording double digits 10.3, and in February, we're still recording inflation in the double digits of 10.3. And these are comparable to the inflationary rates that we're recording during the COVID-19 era. So one of the things that we need to pay attention to, and I like the question on what is the scope. And what makes this important is, one, the dimension by which you are looking at the inflationary rate. I did emphasize that on a month-on-month basis, we continue to see inflationary rates that are pretty much higher than the pre-COVID-19 levels.
Joining us on Zoom to assess the economic impact of the drop in the consumer price inflation of 13.5% for May is Courage Buti, an economist analyst. Good evening, Courage.
Good evening, Winston.
All right. Why is inflation declining when the price of many goods and services seems to be rather skyrocketing?
A very good evening to your listeners. The simple explanation is base effect at the moment. And what I mean by that is this. At the moment, we've seen, beside fuel prices going up on the international market, we've seen the imposition of taxes and levies that has imposed about 11% increase in fuel prices at the pump over the, let's say the last one or so month. We've seen the imposition of, again, increases in VAT rate that applies to most of the goods and services we see on the market. But we are seeing inflation for the last two prints, April and May, going down. The explanation is this. The inflation window for May actually just captures the first week. The inflation window for May actually just captures 1 week in May, and that is how it's designed. So 3 weeks in the previous month and 1 week in May. And because the taxes and all of those things took effective 1st May, its impact in inflation is actually just 1 week in.
All right, we apologize for that. We move to, that will be it for business here on Newsnight. My name is Winston Taki. Back to you, gentlemen, for the rest of the news.
Winston, thanks so much for bringing us updates and business news. You're watching Newsnight. We're back with more stories after this.
Need a little help? Nobody does it better. At UCS Facility Management, we give you the best in janitorial services, which include high-rise window cleaning, office cleaning, post-construction cleaning, facade washing, deep cleaning, carpet cleaning, swimming pool cleaning, and event janitorial services. Locate us at Jowolu, JA Plant Pool premises, or call us on 0501 666 322 or 0203 299 212 or 0203 299 234. UCS, your property is under our care.
You're welcome again. There's still Newsnight on Metro TV. Next is Sports with Johnny.
Well, thank you, very gentlemen. We'll be focusing on the French Open in Paris then. There's a news hack here in Italy because Maurizio Sarri, who used to be in charge of Chelsea, has a new job with Italian side Lazio. My name is Phil Jonokote. Let's start the sports segment of the news with the Black Stars and have a losing to the Moroccans in Rabat yesterday. They are back home preparing for the Ivorians on Saturday. Sika Akron believes that the team's performance should be a real encouragement as they take on the Ivorians on Saturday.
We didn't look bad at all. First of all, it was important for me to see how disciplined we could play. The team spirit, work ethics, we showed great understanding of how to play. Obviously, we played against an opponent who has been, the previous match has been very, very good, and like I said, they've not lost a match. If you look at the way we played, good. The negative part is that we lost. So there has been a lot of positives, and of course, we have some few guys to join us. Should we get all of them and work like this, I think going forward, to be very, very hopeful. We don't need to.
Siki Akron is in charge of the Black Stars as they prepare to take on Ivorians on Saturday at the Cape Sports Stadium. Let's go to boxing and then focus on preparations as Ghana will be heading to the Olympic Games in Tokyo. The gentleman in charge of Ghana amateur boxing, George Lante, believes that the Bombers have prepared enough to win medals. 3 amateur boxers have so far qualified to represent Ghana at the Olympic Games, which will start in July. They are among 13 athletes that will represent Ghana at the Global Fiesta. Speaking to Metro Sports over the weekend, the president of Ghana Amateur Boxing, George Lante, indicated that the boxers are ready to make Ghana proud. He, however, indicated that they must be given the necessary support to bring medals.
Well, they have gone through a lot. As you said, we started with non-residential training for 5 months, despite the COVID issues, before the government gave a go-ahead that 25 people can do a function or not. So we move into this sports, the Transport Emporium. Coming Monday will be our 7th week for the Bombers at residential training. And so far, so good. We have seen their general training. We have picked their specific training. Now we are special training because we know roughly by June 23rd or June 29th, they would have left the shores of Ghana to Japan, where they are going to pre-camping to maybe acclimatize themselves with the weather of that before the actual games in July 23rd. So the 3 Bombers are assuring the nation that they are going to bring a medal.
From Olympic preparation, let's go to the Italian capital, that is Rome. An Italian football trainer, Maurizio Sarri, who used to be the coach of Juventus, has just been appointed the new man in charge of Lazio. There you see him in the pictures over there. He used to be in charge of Juventus, was fired last August despite winning the Scudetto with Juventus. So he has a new mandate now to transform Lazio into a winningful side and ensure that they qualify for the Champions League. Maurizio Sarri, if you know the Chelsea fans, he used to be in charge of Chelsea in the EPL. Just before we go away, let's go to Paris because Rafael Nadal, who has won the French Open for 13 times, has qualified for the semi-finals after beating a gentleman from Argentina by name Diego Schwartzman. So there you had it for the 14th time the Spaniards qualify for the semi-finals of the French Open. Currently world number 3. We'll bring you up updates of the French Open right here on Metro TV. My name is Feo Jonkwote. Back to the gentleman for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Phil. Always good to see you. Coming up next is entertainment news with Harriet Taddy.
My name is Harriet Taddy, and this is entertainment news. There's more after this. The Ghana Music Rights Organization, GAMRO, has disclosed its intention to start collecting royalties from churches in Ghana.
The Ghana Music Rights Organization will start taking royalties from churches that use music from Ghanaian musicians at their event. GAMRO has already established task forces to ensure that event organizers pay for the music they use but excluded churches. According to Abraham Ajete, the administrator of GAMRO, the organization now has plans to include churches in its royalties book. "We started 3 years ago," said Abraham Ajete in a recent interview. "I remember I was in a church service when the task forces from GAMRO entered. They started engaging the church on the need to pay for the musical works they use, and then all the members started speaking in tongues and even said one of the task force members was a demon." Mr. Ajete added that they have since started engaging the churches and will comment.
Two of Nigeria's top female Afropop songstresses, Tiwa Savage and Shay Shay, nearly put their paws on each other when they bumped into each other in a salon in Lagos.
And now for our entertainment news. African bad girl Tiwa Savage is on the front page again.
NEWSNIGHT, over to you, Crosby.
Harriet, it's always good to see you. Thank you so much for bringing us entertainment. Coming up next is the latest on the foreign front. In international news, police in northwest Nigeria's Kebbi State say the death toll from an attack by a gang of cattle thieves on 7 villages Thursday had risen to 88. The region has struggled with decades-long communal clashes over resources, but more recently some groups have become more violent, looting, killing and kidnapping for ransom. Dozens of assailants on motorcycles attacked 7 neighboring villages in Danku Wasagu district on Thursday. Many people are still unaccounted for after fleeing the attacks.
Policemen were deployed to the area over the weekend to forestall further attacks. He said the assailants were believed to have launched the attack from neighboring Zamfara and Niger, states where criminals are known to maintain camps. In April, 9 policemen were killed in the area in a shootout with gunmen who invaded a village in nearby Sakar district to steal livestock.
That's all time allowed for this edition of NEWSNIGHT. But before we go, a quick recap of our top stories.
Increasing activities of illegal mining threaten livelihood of residents in Ahanta West municipality of the western region as major sources of drinking water have been polluted, resulting in children being born with major defects. Tonight, we spoke with the Galamsey activities on our campaign against Galamsey on Metro News.
The Accra Police Command defends its approach to handling the intended Fix the Country demonstration calls for reforms of the Public Order Act, as it insists the service has no ill motive to stop demonstration submissions the Fix the Country conveners disagree with.
In business, with inflation declining from 8.5% in April to 7.5% in May, in the wake of the next week an increment in some products and services, as we go behind the figures to look at more.
In sports, we brought you updates on the Black Stars playing Ivory Coast in a friendly match.
News across the world, we look at the borders where death toll from a recent attack by a gang of cattle thieves on 7 villages in northern Nigeria's Kebbi State rises to 88.
And that's it for the broadcast this evening. But before we go, let's remind you at 8 p.m. there will be a replay of Zoomland Ghana unveiling its new tracks. Also, at 9 p.m. is Community Watch with Gabriel Neobodai Togbo Ashon. You don't want to miss any of the programs. This has been NEWSNIGHT. My name is Noble Crosby Annan.
My name is Nana Yawentri.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Good night.